Okay. Yep. Okay, it's just gone 10:30. Morning, everybody. Let's get underway for our ordinary council meeting. We're going to kick off with the karakia. Kataka te ho, ki tūru. Kataka te ho, ki tonga. Kia wā, kia utu. Kia ngā taratara ki tai. Kia ana, tia kura, tia uka, ia hu. Tutu, watu, mawa, ki tina, huie, tai. Just a reminder to make sure your mics are on. Green. For those online and the hundreds of people watching live can hear you. Morning.
Morning.
We've only just started. We have on Zoom Donna and Bonita. Can you both hear us okay? Thumbs up. Thank you. Apologies from Jonathan, Susan and Neil. Could I have a mover?
Moved, yeah.
Thank you. Tab 1. Confirmation of ordinary council meeting minutes 14th of April. They are taken as read and confirm that you're correct. Move on and thank you.
Yeah.
We'll second those. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? There are none. Receipt of minutes, ops and regs. Could I have a mover, please?
I'll move that, Chair.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? There are none. I take it there's no corrections or comments. We'll keep moving. Policy and planning committee meeting minutes.
Happy to move, Mr. Chair. Try and correct record.
Thank you very much. Second up.
Happy to.
Thanks, Alan. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? None. Executive audit and risk.
Yeah, I'll move, Chair.
Thank you.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. John, you happy to second? All those in favour, please say aye. Against? There are none. First item, then, real item, tab number 5. First item, first real item. Steve, you talk to this? Or Leslie?
I'm happy to talk to it. Obviously, this is a report establishing a joint liaison committee with NPDC to cover the joint chief executive role and ensure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So look, it's reasonably straightforward standard terms of reference with members from both CE liaison committees, and they'll in turn forward recommendations to this council's liaison committee for their consideration. So happy to take any questions.
Thank you for the paper. We'll take it as read. Yes?
Not really a question, it's probably more about on the issue side of things, sort of bullet point number 9 about potential joint recruitment, and I think it's just a pragmatic view, really. So it seemed to be new to me compared with what we talked about last time. Was it?
Where are you, sorry, John?
Page 29.
And which one?
9.
Paragraph 9.
So there's obviously a first hurdle to climb on that in terms of a decision from both councils to proceed with that option. So that would only get triggered if they get to that point. So, yeah.
Okay. Mike?
I'd just like to read out a couple of 5 points, 6 points from Donna, because she's lost her voice. She
does
sent me
have
an
it.
email to you.
Okay.
Number one, has the heads agreement for the secondment been signed by both councils?
The heads of agreement for the future government working party arrangements is coming to you next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, right, yeah, okay, at 1 o'clock, yep. Question 2, what portion of the CE's time is with TRC? Fifty-fifty or what? I don't, that's you, Steve.
I vary my time depending on the needs of both organisations. So I am juggling my workload to meet the needs of both organisations
Yep.
in terms of delivery against the needs and priorities of those two organisations within that overall construct.
Which is
So
perfectly
there's not a,
understandable.
there's, yeah,
Which is
Yeah.
perfectly understandable.
exactly.
That's what
To-
it's
which
needed.
should happen to,
That's right.
as particular demands come on
Yeah.
and need to be addressed, and I'm placing my focus across those different areas.
And we'd expect nothing more or less.
Yeah.
Number 3, what date is the end of the secondment?
30th of September.
And 4, I think there should be a time frame for the committee to report back to the council on how the secondment has gone.
Isn't this what this heads of agreements for? And we're reporting back on that.
So your first report back is next Tuesday in terms of the
Tuesday?
heads of agreement process of indeed whether it even continues to exist depends on that.
That was the first piece of work.
It was one of the first critical pieces of work to have put done.
Okay.
So let's revisit that issue of meeting frequency and all the rest of it post that.
Okay, Steve. Number 5, number 17 of the CE Liaison Joint Committee Agreement says that this establishment will only happen by the mutual agreement. Considering the state of the change local government is under right now, we need to be able to withdraw from the agreement at the end of the secondment.
In my opinion, and that doesn't allow for that.
What do you mean by, through the chair, what is the question mean? What is we trying to?
Yeah, I'm lost, Mike.
I'm sort of
I'll read it
unsure.
again. Number 17 of the CE Liaison Joint Committee Agreement says that this establishment will only happen by mutual agreement. Considering the state of change local government is under right now, we need to be able to withdraw from the agreement at the end of the secondment. Because the secondment period
Well, if the secondment ends, then the purpose of the committee ends.
to finish
It
it.
has no purpose.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
That's not what it says on the agreement.
as I said, it may well end next Tuesday if there's no agreement on the heads of agreement. Then it may well be over there. So it's pretty obvious, it seems to me.
Yeah,
It's not obvious in that agreement, sorry.
It's not in the written agreement, is that what you're saying, Donna? Yeah.
Yeah, I am saying that. It's not obvious on that agreement. It doesn't say subject to next Tuesday's meeting, does it?
well, it's by mutual agreement with both councils, Chair. So,
Yeah, but it shouldn't be in this case. We're not like, TRC is not in the same state as the territorials right now with what's going on, are we?
Sorry?
no, they don't.
We haven't seen I haven't seen what's going on next Tuesday yet. I'm not sure whether it's up on Diligent yet. But I just think that number 17 should state that we have the ability to withdraw from the agreement at the end of the secondment. We're on about this agreement right now, not what's happening next Tuesday. I thought we were looking at this particular agreement.
This agreement only relates to the proposed establishment of a joint committee. It does not relate to the current secondment arrangements. It's a subset of the secondment arrangements. Critical part of the secondment arrangements is whether or not the councils can come to an agreement on a heads of agreement. As I say, if they cannot, then I'll be back here next Wednesday.
I think this is, just to clarify, this is a joint committee that we have other joint committees with the other councils, and it's standard that it would be by mutual agreement that it is disestablished. I think that's perfectly reasonable, that if we decide to disestablish it, we wouldn't just pull out, we would both pull out by mutual agreement. That's how these arrangements tend to work. Now, I'd also just like to say that as far as I'm concerned, obviously I have the most interaction with Steve out of anybody, and I do have interactions with our directors and senior management team as well. The arrangement has been functioning perfectly. Steve has never not once come to a meeting that he's been required to come to for our part. He's never once not picked up the phone, called me back, replied to an email. We are communicating just about every day, and I think he's working harder and longer to make sure that that both parties are satisfied. It is working out really well. I think he's doing a fantastic job. So I personally would like to applaud him for that and for stepping up, which he did when the region needed it. Okay?
Chair, may I add
Yes.
that we're in difficult times and we all need to adjust to what's been put on us from the government. And there'll be times where we either agree or disagree, but we've got to be focused on where the government want us to head. And our focus is that. It's not about the agreement as such, it's about where to from here, further down the track. And I think we've got to keep focused on that, and we've also got to keep focused on the best outcome for this province.
Exactly.
Rather than individuals, and we've got to take into our city dwellers as well as our rural dwellers and the environment and everything else. And we've just got to keep that focus. And we can fight as much as we like to say we don't agree with this, but it's been thrust upon us. We don't have an option to do this. If we either do it willingly or we'll have something imposed that we may not like and we can't do anything about. So let's, all of us, go with it and support what the objectives are, rather than trying to fight back all the time, because there's only one winner in this, and that's the government.
Thank you, Tom, for raising that. And also, and I've just actually came up in Wellington last week, and I did have another reread through the Local Government Act, and Section 12 explicitly states that as regional council, and therefore as regional councillors, we must act in the best interests of the region.
Absolutely.
Okay, in the best interests of the region. That's what we're tasked to do. So this isn't about our districts or where we were elected. We are all tasked with doing whatever we can do to act in the best interests of the region. This regional approach that we're taking or trying to take, and working out what we're going to do about simplifying local government, in the manner that we're doing it, and trying to come to a heads of agreement with the district council so we can all work together on that, is exactly what we should be doing. And as far as the government's announcements a couple of weeks ago go, and the Head Start and backstop and all of that, we have actually made the right decisions, in my opinion, to date, and we're heading in the right track, and we are leaps and bounds ahead of other provinces at this point in time because we have done that. So thank you for your support in landing where we've landed, and we are in a really good space, and I think we're doing our constituents, the ratepayers, right across Taranaki, from the south to the north to the east to the west. We are serving them well in the way that we are approaching this. Benita.
Kia ora. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we've moved off track. I think we're just relitigating the arrangements, whereas this is purely about the establishment of the committee, and therefore I'm happy to move that we accept the recommendation.
Finished. Hold on. I'm not going to vote for Mike. Can you just do my last one, please? And I wasn't talking about any regional arrangements, like Benita said, was talking about that specific agreement. So sorry, you got off track. But Mike, can you just say that last thing?
Okay, she got one more point. I will not approve the delegation of authority stated in the CE Liaison Joint Committee terms of reference, page 39.
So you can move it, Benita, but I'm voting against.
Well, we've got to move it, Chair. I don't mind seconding the recommendations. I will second the recommendations on page 28.
All right.
Yeah.
Mover and seconder. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against?
Against.
Against the
Can
ayes.
I please have it recorded that I was against? Thank you.
Sure. Tab number 6, administrative charges, section 36. Steve, is you?
It's me.
Amy's.
Thank
Amy.
you. Thank you, Chair. Yes, setting of the administrative charges, section 36 of the RMA. So this is further to the proposed charges that you adopted on the 14th of April. At that time, the public were notified and submissions were open for a month on those charges, and of which we received none. So the recommendation is that we adopt and fix those charges, noting this preempts the annual plan adoption further in the agenda. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Amy. Any questions?
I'll move the recommendations on page 40, Chair.
Thank you. John will second. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? There are none. Item number 7, Amy again. Annual plan and estimates.
Thank you, Chair. Purpose of the memo to consider and adopt the 26-27 annual plan. Noting that this is in line with the plans consistent with the long-term plan for that year. It is also consistent with the considerations and decisions that you made at the 24th of February meeting, that being that no consultation be undertaken, and that the one significant change to be made regarding inclusion of $250,000 for golden clam management at Lake Rotomaru. We have included that and made some other changes with expense adjustments and reductions to be able to do that with still being under the proposed rates percentage rise in the LTP. So there are still some formatting changes to be completed and final minor editorial changes, but it is recommended that we adopt the plan and meet the deadline of the 30th of June. Happy to take any queries, comments.
Thank you, Amy. I'd just like to say that reading through the document, it looks fantastic. It's very user-friendly once again. I love all the visuals, the drawings, the way that it's laid out. I think you've done a fantastic job, and I think that's so please credit to the team. If you could pass that on. It looks good and it's a usable document. It's not boring to read, although if it were just text, it probably would be. So, I think people can really engage with that. And it is quite quite celebratory, or celebrating of all the wonderful things that we do. People need to be able to see that.
Thank you, Chair.
So thank you. Alan.
Through you, Chair, I just had a query regarding the stadium Taranaki targeted rate. It's up by 45,000. I thought we were going to see a strategic plan and a bit of a direction on how the stadium trust was going and what they were requiring money for, which I thought was coming back to us prior to us setting the annual plan, but I haven't seen anything through the committees with regard to their vision going forward and why they need an extra $45,000.
So through you, Chair, we do present a 6-monthly update on the financials for the stadium.
Yes.
This year, as part of the annual plan, it was proposed that we put a CPI increase on the targeted rates. And the reason for that being for the trust to meet its interest obligations on the debt to TRC, while still have some headroom left in there to repay the principal for that debt. So that's the reason for the increase. Yeah.
And following on from that, I am still a little bit disappointed that we've gone out with a 9.96% increase. I know it's in line with the long-term plan, but after the government coming back to us and saying, hey, we need to keep our rates capped down, we haven't addressed that as such. I'm happy to go with what was proposed in the long-term plan, so I'm a little bit disappointed with that side of it.
Thank you. Just a comment there. I guess the government can say whatever they like, but if they keep imposing more and more unfunded mandates and costs on us and don't reduce any of their expectations, but actually increase them, that makes it very hard to do that without significantly cutting services to our constituents.
Just a point of clarification, Chair, that's the next subject, is it? Is it not? Setting of rates?
That was just a comment on Alan's comment.
Yeah, okay, but you're going to talk about that in the next...
Yep, sure.
Or something, Dan. Just talking about this here, Chair, we're talking about the annual plan and just looking at the river in Waitara, and we've been talking about that for some time, established standing committee. I guess, Steve, is that still ongoing? Because it's been ongoing for about 3 years now. Where are we with that?
I briefed the Executive Board Risk Committee on that issue last week.
You did? I'm not on that.
Okay. So we are continuing to work with iwi. We are progressing, as I think I outlined at the last policy committee meeting, Mana Whakahono and Ngāti Maru JMA, which are a critical part of that framework, given they set the context within which, some of the context within which the Waitara River Committee will operate. So those are due to come through to Council in June meetings. So that will get those, if you agree with them, that will be an important step forward.
That's good, because it's been a long journey.
And as I said to the Executive Board and Risk Committee, it's better that both parties take their time and get it right, rather than rush something and end up with a suboptimal job. And I think the passage of time and continuing dialogue has been really important in terms of getting to a better outcome in this space.
I agree.
So while yes, I certainly would have been liking to do it a little bit earlier, but we're getting to a good space with it. So.
Thanks, Steve.
Anything else? I'll move this one, item number 7, seconder. Thank you, Tom. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? There are none.
There is one. Me.
Sorry?
I'm against it.
Against what?
Annual plan.
Annual plan.
Okay.
Regarding the rates, is it on? Yeah, I'm against it as well. We might talk about it, but
Against what?
Against the annual plan.
increase.
Against
So you've got two against, a little bit like, you've got two voting against the annual plan. as I take it.
voting against receiving the annual plan. Okay. Fine, and adopting it. Item number 8, Amy to speak. This is the setting of rates. So this is where those questions can come up if you like.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the detail is provided in the memorandum there, and we've spoken to that briefly already. I guess important to note that the long-term plan does set out rates at a 10.19% increase, and we have landed at 9.96. Perhaps what's the most important message there is for the average household, that's just over $40 a year or 77 cents per week increase to be able to meet our obligations for that year. Happy to take any questions or comments.
So we're still one of the lowest rating regional councils in the country by quite a margin. That is my understanding, and thank you for clarifying the 70 cents a week. I think people sometimes are a bit shocked by a percentage increase, but if your percentage increases on a very low base, then it doesn't really make a huge amount of difference to a lot of people. So I think for an extra 70%, considering the way that inflation's been running, CPI and everything else, I think people do get good value for money. Any further comments? Mike?
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
I mean, the government has introduced a policy to limit rate increases, a range of 2 to 4%, which beginning in January 27, not this year. Cost of living pressures, not only for farmers but also for our urban sector. So I'd like the council to minimise this year's rates increase, as many households are really feeling it. And I'd like to reconsider a percentage much lower than what they're currently suggesting, Chair.
Can somebody please?
Just through the chair, can I just ask
Yes.
Councillor Davey? So, and that's just a statement. Where you haven't offered anything to say where we could actually reduce those.
Well, I can move a motion, Chair, if you want.
Those rates. No, but where can we actually reduce those rates from?
Well,
what are you aiming to?
What I'm aiming at the
out of the annual plan. What are you aiming to chop?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll let him answer, but also I will add another question. Why did you not raise this back in February?
I did actually in November, and you said that we'll have a further discussion of this now. And at that time, if you recall that, Craig, or not?
I'm pretty sure it was the February meeting that we confirmed where we're heading with this.
Might have been February. Okay.
It's far too late to propose any changes now, but you're more than welcome to. If you could answer Tom's question, that would be helpful.
Yeah, just going back to that, Tom, is that, we're in governance, Steve is in management. So in terms of, we can suggest a rate increase of, say, and you can put a number 4 or 5%, that's up to Steve then to go back and do the numbers. We're in governance, not in management.
Steve.
So you would, if you were going to change your rates at this stage, you'd need to go back and revoke the previous resolution to adopt the annual plan, because rates need to be set in accordance with what's in your annual plan and long-term plan. Now, that would need a notice of motion from, I think, a third of councillors to be considered at the next meeting to revoke the resolution you've just passed and adopt a new resolution. It would also be helpful if given you have a statutory requirement to adopt rates by the 30th of June each year, to also give us an indication of the areas and the cuts that you would like to see put in place, so that we have opportunity to produce an annual plan for you for your next meeting, so that you have some hope of meeting your statutory obligations to adopt an annual plan by the beginning of the new financial year, as well as set rates. And we can also build into your advice, if that's not possible, your options around the transitional rate, which is possible under the Local Government Rating Act, but we'll also need to give you extensive advice on that again in time before your next meeting, so that you can proceed into the next financial year with a level of certainty as to the revenue you may expect to receive.
Thank you.
So would it be right for me to suggest a motion, Chair, or not, in light of what Steve just said?
I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. I think if this is something that you want to bring up for next year's annual plan, note that we'll be working on the long-term plan in the very near future, and we'll be actually laying out what we think, assuming that nothing else changes, which it probably will, but anyway, it might not, what the next 3 years with a long-term vision to what the next 10 years.
Well, in January next year.
But I'm pretty sure I recall, and the officers might be able to remind me as well, that we did workshop this in December, and it would have gone through. When did we approve the annual plan?
24th of February.
Right, so it was the 24th of February meeting that this was discussed, and we approved the rates. So that may have given us enough time if the motion had been presented then. It certainly should have been flagged in the workshop prior to. We need to give our staff all due respect and a good lead-in. We gave them the signal at the workshop. They came back in February. They'd figured out what they could cut, what they couldn't, where we were heading, what we can and can't do. It's my opinion, it's far too late to do that now at the last minute.
Through you, Chair, I can remember back when we were talking about a consultation process, and I was wanting one in it, didn't have, and it was voted that we follow the long-term plan. So I'm happy that it's got to the stage it has. It's what we were voted to do, that we would accept it as it is. I just voted against it because I'm still unhappy with it, but the process was followed, and as you say,
good process.
If there was enough against it, it would have gone out to consultation. We would have had a chance to have a crack at it, but that wasn't the case at the time as well. So,
all things.
Those are the consequences. So,
all things in these roles. It's not consensus decision making. It's majority decision making.
That's right.
And once decisions are made, we have to get on with it. Any further questions? Okay, there's who would like to move this? John?
Yeah.
Thank you. Would you like to?
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yep, thank you. All those in favour, please say aye. Against? Fair enough. Moving on. Hold on, my notes now. Actually, I'll go here. Item number 9. Yes, finally. Come on, Steve. Golden plans. Give us a lowdown where we're at and where we're heading, please, sir.
No problem. Morena tatai. So I've been away and I got back just as this agenda was ready to go, and I tried to bump it, but I wasn't allowed. So I've quickly put together an update on what's been happening. All the background stuff is the same in this item, claims are bad, we tried to look at what we could do, all that stuff, so I would ignore the first bit because I copied and pasted it from the last memo until we got to paragraph number 15. So last meeting when we spoke in February, the decision was made, and Donna, we probably bring that up, around, it was unaffordable at the time, but you asked me to go back and look at our other options and options for external funding that we might be able to get to help us to make a decision at some point that we will continue with an eradication type project. But it was, okay, go away, you gave me some more money, which was really good, to get a bit more resource, and then go away and look at our options. Since that time, we've been carrying on looking at those options. So first thing we've done is we've spoken to the suppliers of the Exxon product, which is the copper product. They were coming to New Zealand anyway, so we brought them, invited them down to Taranaki to have a proper look at the lake. They're an Australian company. They gave us some more suggestions and have given us a price review, which is slightly cheaper than the original one they gave us. It's good having the inventor of the product there because he had a few different ideas around how it might work and how we might be able to get the chemical into the lake at a different type of rate than what we'd first thought we would have to use. So we've been working with those people on what that looks like. The other bit we've been doing concurrently is developing a job description for the new role that was approved as part of this. So to give us that extra resource that we can, A, continue to look at emerging threats and what is happening across the region with a key focus on what's happening with the clams, and also looking at how do we start looking at building or going and approaching other funders potentially to help us fund that. So the job description for that has been developed. It's going through the process. It should be approved tomorrow, and we'll start recruiting, looking at that role being filled by the new financial year. So that role will be tasked with continuing to look at what our options are on the future of an eradication attempt, looking at all the other emerging threats that we have. We've got high pathogen avian influenza, so I'm going to put the people looking at some of those new stuff coming at us, and also working to coordinate potential approaches to potential funders. And I say coordinate that because I'm conscious that sometimes if you're going to a potential funder, you know, we really want the CE to be shaking hands with the CE, or we might need councillors to be involved to go, hey, the governors of this group. It's not necessarily a lowly manager or team leader from the council making those approaches. So the idea is they will coordinate those approaches. So that will be the time when we'll go, CE, can we get you to introduce? Chair, can we get you to do that? So that's the kind of work they'll be looking at. We've also, at the same time, with the comms team, we've carried on with some of the comms that we've needed to do, and they've done quite a lot of work on building a prospectus. So we're looking at like almost an investment prospectus that you would have if you were going for funding for an investment. So Katie's done a really good job of figuring what that looks like, and comms are currently trying to map that up. So we'll be looking at like a 2 or 3 page prospectus saying, you know, this is the issue, this is how it might affect you, you know, this is the kind of want or need that we might have. So we've been working really hard on that. At the same time, we've been doing some monitoring stuff. We talked last time when Donald McIntyre was here that Lake Rarapico was going to be lowered. So we took the opportunity while that lake was lowered to go and dig up hunks of mud and sieve them for clams, and we didn't find anything, which is really good. And we've been helping MPI with the national monitoring program, including just last weekend, even today, at some of the key risk sites. The staff are out there basically sieving water for eDNA and plankton sampling. So we've carried on with all that as well. Obviously, it's an NPDC lake, so we continue to work with NPDC parks and getting, you know, they are committed. They've kept the lake voluntarily closed, and they've got plumbers moving the pipes to get us so we can start looking at building a washdown station closer to the lake, because their actual plumbing's quite a long way from the lake. So they've been working on that, and we've been working with other people, especially Rotorua Lakes, and Northland, around what these washdown facilities could look like. So we're not trying to design this on our own, we're trying to design it with other people that have lake biosecurity issues. So doing that, and one that was a bit high profile that you might have seen on the socials is Kiwiman Extreme Triathlon have traditionally used the lake. They had tried to move to the port, but their swimmers are in the water at like 3 o'clock in the morning because they're crazy guys running right around the mountain. So we worked with them to make sure they could still use the lake but be biosecurity safe. So we had staff down there helping them wash their equipment and their wetsuits and their kayaks and stuff, just to make sure that the event could still go ahead, but it was biosecure. So that's basically what we've been up to in the last couple of months. Really keen for us to get this new person so we can progress it further. I think we're in a really good spot to start progressing as soon as we get that extra resource on.
Thanks, Steve. So we're talking about a better washdown station there in the future, better signage, more public awareness, but at this stage, no projection as to when it might open to motorised watercraft again.
No, not at the moment. We'll need to get those washdown facilities in first. We did have a play with a mobile water heating system for the Kiwiman event, but the real hot water is not that great on some of your equipment. So, yeah.
And no sign of any infestation anywhere else,
No.
obviously from reading a report.
No, not that we're seeing.
Which is good.
Through you, Chair. Thanks for the work, but I'm dead keen to see the clams go one way or another, however we go about it. Cost of 250,000 for another person each year. The cost of all these washdown facilities, cost to put pipes into for a washdown facility, and all that stuff that's ongoing must be at a huge cost. And at some stage, that money could it be diverted, or should it be diverted to physically eradicate the clams? I see some of the spin-offs, and one of them that was a bit dear to my heart is Rota Kerry, for example, which hasn't opened all season because they're scared of clams. So we've lost the complete use of a lake for any craft because they're scared the clams are going to get there. And understandably, being a sanctuary it is, but is it possible to get a cost to eradicate them? You've had the Aussie guys in and whatever other resources, so this council gets a fair idea of the cost to eradicate. And we've had that vision of $1 million or $1.5 million or whatever. You're going to spend that in the next 4 years with these. Could that not be spent eradicating these little sods?
So, Steve, the question obviously is comparing the cost of eradication versus the cost of what's happening now, but also what's happening now, what would still need to keep happening, I guess.
Through you, Chair, and that's what I was going to come back to. You're still going to have washdown facilities. You're still going to have that, because even if we do eliminate or eradicate them from that lake, as soon as we start moving boats back into that lake, you've got risk. So you're still going to have to build a washdown facility and all that stuff. So I guess while we're still looking at the end goal, and completely the end goal would be an eradication attempt, we've got to put those platforms in place to make sure that when can they come back. So we need those washdown. I have talked to Rota and they are actually safe to put kayaks and paddleboards back on the lake. It's, again, the motorised stuff that they need to keep away. And as you know, they have issues with algae blooms as well that keeps them closed. But we don't want the lakes closed, the other lakes closed either. So let's put those things in place that we can do that.
Thank you. That's clear. Got it?
Well, it's clear, but not helpful.
Well, it's not one or the other. It would be, in that case, it would be both.
It still would be nice to have a cost come back.
Yeah, it would be plus and even
have
higher.
A good crack at getting rid of them. Be nice.
Dare I say, even higher rate rises. Sorry.
Some of that was in the February, quite a bit of that was in the February.
It was.
So the Exxon product that they came back, it was $100,000 or so cheaper. So, you're looking at probably 500,000 if you use that particular product.
Right.
But we still need, like I said in the February one, that's the product, the copper product, which we need to make sure that we're doing all of the due diligence on what's the long-term effects of that, right? Yeah. But that is the cheapest option. And in terms of depopulating the lake, you don't have to do that. So that's why it's way cheaper, that we don't have to lower the lake and then kill everything in it.
The other piece of this discussion too, which is really important, because Steve has done a very good job of giving me a business case on all the other biosecurity threats that we face as a region. And so clearly, particularly if you want to reduce rates, we can't manage and control them all. We are at a point where we need to let some biosecurity risks be realised, because we cannot manage them all within the funding constraints we have, let alone if you want to reduce significantly our rates revenue. So there are some trade-off decisions that need to be made. As I said, Steve has done, as part of his broader biosecurity strategy review, quite a lot of very good work, that there was a very strong case for increasing resourcing to grapple with some of the biosecurity threats and how he would prioritise those. You don't want to know what the price tag is on that, particularly if you're looking to take out reduced rating levels. So we will be coming to you as part of the LTP process with that biosecurity strategy work, outlining the range of risks you have, because this is only one of 5 or 6 high priority ones, Steve?
You could pick as many as you like, but yeah, one's on the doorstep, yeah.
Yeah, so we will be asking you to balance up how much you want to spend on different risks and overall, and seeing that within the context of council's overall budgets.
Yeah, makes
Can I
sense.
ask through you, Chair, will we still be going through that long-term plan process with what's on the cards with the talk of unary councils, etc.? Is that something that we will set?
You will still you still have a statutory obligation to do it. I would suggest it is still very important in terms of being clear about the range of issues, environmental issues that this region needs to manage and grapple with, including these sorts of trade-offs, and how does biosecurity risks compare with biodiversity enhancement, with things like land management and the range of other like our state of the environment monitoring, the range of other programs we do. One of the really important pieces of work that you can leave for whoever may come after you, whether it's this council in its current form or some other form, it's likely to be some other form, is a clear view on here's the range of priorities that are important, why they are important, and where we got to with balancing some trade-offs on what should and shouldn't be done to take this region forward and manage its environment in an appropriate way. That would be really appropriate and very helpful, I would suggest, for whoever may come after us.
Yeah, I absolutely support that, Steve. As we've been discussing in Wellington too, a lot of district councils are anecdotally struggling to get their heads around exactly what does Taranaki, what do the regional councils across the country actually do, the length and breadth, the legacy of the work that we do. It is so important, and it should be important for all of us, and important for me that continues, that is highlighted, that is not just something that can be brushed over as just something easy to do on the sideline or pushed off to the side as a CCO. It's got to be core and fundamental to any future local government system that comes out of this region post 2028. So I think we need to absolutely continue with that process and lay out everything, all our cards and everything that's on the table, so that whoever or whatever, if ever, takes over after 2028, they have very good understanding of what the regional council and our regional council does and the challenges we face and the restrictions, especially budgetary, that we have. Donna, I've seen your hand up for a while. Apologies for that. Way you go.
Steve, can you talk about the Taupo Aquatic Park, please, and what happened there?
Sure, through you, Chair. Councillor Cram asked me in an email to also bring back what happened in the Taupo operation. So I talked about that in the last couple of things. So they had a related clam, like immediately related clam in that water park there, and they used that Exxon product. I still haven't seen the actual final report that MPI have done, but through everybody I've talked to, all of my cronies around the country, they think it has been eradicated in that lake. The lessons to learn there are the important ones that we need, because I think or everyone pretty much agrees they probably put too much of the product in because they've never used it before for that kind of scenario. So this is where having the inventor of it coming along going, well, we could actually do it with way less of that chemical than what we'd used in the past. So while I haven't seen the report, it looks like they have been eradicated. And yeah, we've got those lessons that we can learn, which will help us get a sharper price if that's the product that we end up using for any future eradication.
Steve, can you be talking to any of the non-profits that maybe could be applying for funding for boat washing facilities?
Yes, I was in a meeting this morning with Wildlife Taranaki, who we are one of the funders, or the main funder of, but they are a non-for-profit organisation. So yeah, we are talking with others about what that could look like and how could they help us in our fundraising objectives.
And my last question, sorry, Craig, is around the economic impact report, because Steve, it's really hard to make decisions on this stuff if we don't know what the future cost could be to economic, the economics of our region.
Yeah, through you, Chair. We haven't got an economic assessment or impact assessment done right now. I don't think it's even actually been done for the whole country, although you would like to think so. So I will check with Waikato and MPI. As it's a relatively new infestation within New Zealand, I think the ongoing impacts of it are going to be maintenance costs. So how often do you need to clean your pipes out? How often do you have to replace your impellers? How often do you have to do that stuff? We may not have got to sort of peak claim yet to give us the long term of that, but I will try and get some information on it. But it's definitely going to be expensive when you think of all of the infrastructure that can be clogged up with these things. It's, you're not talking hundreds of thousands here, you're talking multi-millions of dollars.
Hey, but Steve, that might help your investment statement.
Yeah, so that's exactly the kind of stuff we want to be saying in our prospectus, and we have drafted in our perspective. What's the likely impact of these for you?
Through you, Chair, I'm stating the obvious. Of course, it's in the Waikato River, so eliminating it from Lake Rotakati isn't going to eliminate the risk. Because it's quite obviously that's where it came from, was the Waikato River. So, you could spend a whole lot of money getting rid of it from Lake Rotamanu, and yet it's still coming into the region from other places. So even the cost-benefit analysis isn't specific to this region. It's actually most likely to spread from the Waikato River.
And through you, Chair, the cost-benefit analysis will be mainly based on the Waikato River scenario, because they're the ones with the electricity generators all the way down the river. So that's where we'll be getting that information from.
Through you, Chair, just surely if we get the boat washing facilities in, because haven't we stopped Dynamo coming through lots of work being done? Did everyone hear that? Sorry.
I think, through you, Chair, DMO, that's the clean, check, dry. So a lot of that is around education and making sure people are doing the right thing, which is a huge part of what we do and what Steve's team does, which is exactly how this clam got identified in the first place, which meant that we were able to respond to it because of those education programs. So, at the ferry, when you get on the ferry, there's someone that's coming through talking to you, making sure that you're not transferring it from the South Island to the North Island.
That's all, Chair.
Thank you. Anything else?
Well, that all said, Chair, I'm quite happy to move the recommendations on page 176.
Thank you, Tom. I'll second those. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against. Thanks, Steve. Item number 10. Amy. Electoral. Is this you, Amy? Number 10.
It's the electoral officer's
sorry.
report. Look,
You can do
I'm happy to take, just presented there, pretty self-explanatory. I think happy to take any questions.
Yeah, it is pretty self-explanatory, Chair. I think everyone reads it as what we had, it's just a report. So I'll move the recommendations that we receive it.
Okay. John, you're not in. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? There be none. Item number 11, no old Taranaki input into long-term plan. Steph.
Yeah, so look, last long-term plan, we sought input from iwi o Taranaki. Recall we appointed 3 representatives who sat with council during deliberations and hearings and other stages of the plan process. So recommended that we proceed with that approach again and talk to them about it. So we're happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Steve. I believe it worked well. Just a question on recommendation B. It's talking about 3 iwi representatives, but then it says invites 2.
Yeah. Sorry, so it should be,
that should be
proposed to be 3 to align with the 3 Waka again.
Yes.
So the second part of B should be, it's a typo, should be changed to 3.
Thank you. My recollection is that process worked really well. Any comments? If not, Benita, would you like to move this one?
Yes, so I just have a quick question.
Sure.
Have iwi been approached to see if they're happy with the same way of doing things this time around, Steve?
No, it's been this week.
No, I was waiting to see where council's decision got to today.
Yeah, Kapai, happy with that, knowing that contact will be made again, so I'm happy to move.
Thank you.
Second, Chair.
Seconded by Tom. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? There are none. Moving on, we're going to move into public excluded. Page 199. In accordance with the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act, we'll move into public excluded. The recommendation is there. Item number 12, page 199. I'll move it. Tom's going to second it. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? There are none. So we'll just pause for a minute.